Caroline said that you guys met at a Shinee event. Is that right?
Yes, we did. I think it was about 2 years ago. Mia was on a panel talk at Engine, and I had submitted one of my films, Ma. So it was getting screened, and after the panel talk, I spoke to Mia, and I kind of invited to this event that I was hosting. And then from then, we kind of kept in each other's network, I suppose. Yeah.
First, why don't we start about talking about how you kind of came across Shinee in the first place, and then maybe if you can talk about how it's helped your career.
Yeah.
After.
To be honest, I can't remember how I came across it, but I remember the moment I came across it, and I was like, the first thing I thought was actually really reasonable. The money, the price to enter, like it was something that I could afford, and I think that was really important for me. And I was like, oh, like, and I saw these big agency names, and I was like, this is great. Like, I remember just like being like, it's something that I can do, because a lot of times with awards and stuff, I can't really afford to spend all my money in like entering all these various things. So that was the first thing that I think attracted me to Shinee. And then the process was really easy, and then I got selected, and I was like, oh, like this is an actual like input and output rather than just input, you know what I mean? And even if I didn't get selected, my ticket price included coming to the event, which I thought was really helpful, because even if you don't get selected, there's going to be so many people there that you can network with that are like you as well. Like, I never really meet that many people who are like putting their own money into their projects, and they're really kind of from the ground up, like really underrepresented. And to have these underrepresented people in such big companies was just the biggest draw for me, because I felt like I had a connection to something that I would never have before.
After you met Mia, how did it sort of snowball from there? What happened next?
Yeah, actually no, so can I go back to that first question, because I was wrong. I didn't get selected. But what happened is that I met Caroline at Stink, which was the first event I went to, and she remembered my film and then was like, actually it'd be great for a fashion sort of thing that we're doing as a Shinee. And then that was I think the frame, I can't remember, another big agency. So she then managed to kind of fit that in with another sort of thing that she was creating. And I thought that was really amazing, because again, I didn't get selected and I went for the ride, but actually from that came a different opportunity. And that's something that Caroline's been doing for me for the past like 3 years. It's not just Shinee, it's all these other things that she's put me forward for that has allowed me to build my reel before I even met Mia at that point. So that she put me forward for another event to showcase me. And I managed to get a commission. When I did my commission based off that event, I then had screened that at Shinee to then meet Mia. So it was all kind of like a ripple effect, I suppose.
Shinee, would you recommend it to people who maybe were in your shoes a few years ago?
100%. I think it's been the most instrumental platform for my success. I mean, even when people who've like, so many people come up to me and said, I found you through Shinee, you know. And I think even meeting Mia, like you just never know who's going to be on these events. And I think it's just, I mean, Mia doesn't know this, but I really had to push myself to talk to her as well, because I was alone at the event. And I just felt like, oh God, like you're here for a reason. And I was like, I had to push myself so much. But I think because Mia, obviously in the panel, I think, you know, she kind of had a very sort of open, you know, sense of personality, and I felt like I could do that. But I was thinking of not even going. So I really do think that it's worth that push, even if you're socially awkward like me a little bit, or, you know, you don't feel as confident and you put yourself more in your films than you do, you know, how you might come across in real life. I think I definitely am more expressive in my films. So yeah, I think it's definitely just worth having that platform, because it's such a easy platform to be involved with. You know, it doesn't take that much for young, and there's no that expectation to be the best of the best, because it's underrepresented and it is at the start of your career.
Love your Spec ad for Audi, like love it. Watched it 3 times. Obsessed. So I guess like if you could talk about what your motivation behind that was for making it.
I realized I didn't answer your last question about me and Mia, how it happened, but yeah, I'll come back to that, I guess. Audi, I think, you know, I got to a stage in my portfolio where I felt like I'd done the music videos, I'd done the branded content, I'd done short films, I'd done fashion films, and I felt like what was kind of missing was something that stood out, like took me to the next level. Essentially, I wanted to challenge myself, and I knew that women were very underrepresented within the car genre of commercials. So I was very much aware of that, and I wanted to kind of do a bit of a like, I can, you know, and I can with very little. So like give me a chance. So then we did that. I came up with the creative, I wrote it, directed it, edited it, self-funded it, and I think it's been a real, I'm sure Mia will agree, it's been that sort of missing piece, I think, in my reel to take me to that next level, which I think has made signing to RSA the right time in terms of it being that calling card.
And do you think that film is what kind of convinced RSA to sign you?
That's a Mia question, I guess.
Yeah.
Should I answer now? Yeah, I think it's been massive motivation for us. I think in terms of looking at someone's reel, you want to have cohesion across it, and I think that was the thing that pushed us over the edge in terms of seeing Somayeh's potential and also her craft and how much she's able to elevate with every single thing that she does. She's always pushing the envelope out, and we at RSA and Ridley Scott Creative Group really value people like Somayeh who are able to, not wait for anyone. It's very much a self-motivated thing, and we really love go-getters. And I think it wasn't just the Audi film that was why we fell in love with Somayeh. It was the whole package. She is the total package. And it's been brilliant watching her on this journey, and I've kind of been keeping my eye on her for the last 2-3 years. And that was the kind of, it was the tipping point, I think, for us to say, look, she's really got it.
I love that. It's so inspiring. So I guess maybe if you want to, Somayeh, you want to talk a bit about your sort of latest work, I guess, with the footballer, and how that came about. And
I mean, that kind of came about just before signing with RSA, so I'm not sure it's linked in this sort of promo thing, but so I would say Audi definitely has led me to more commercial work and has led me to be able to pitch on TVCs, which I did, and I won my first TV commercial for Braun. So I'm super excited about that. I think even for me to see that journey has worked, like, it's quite surreal. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, as soon as he left the set, I just got very emotional. Like, I just welled up because I think I hadn't taken a second to even comprehend everything that's happened in the last few weeks, like signing, all the work that's got to the point of signing, getting my first TV commercial, and then having this footballer there that just left. And in that moment, I just felt it all come to me. And I actually, after the shoot, just started crying in front of the creators, which was embarrassing, but also quite, I think nice, because they kind of understood. And then the producer started crying with me. It was like a whole emotional thing. Like, but I don't think many people like stop to really realize the journey. And I think in that moment, all the work for the past 5 years just came to a head. And I didn't expect myself to feel that emotion. Like, when you think you succeed, you'll be like, you have a pre sort of vision of what you would feel like, but you don't expect the things that you would actually feel like. So I'm going off on a tangent, but I think it kind of ties into the whole going to Shinee, meeting Mia, doing all this stuff, like relentlessly working, and then actually seeing a moment of it, a moment that I'll never get back. I'll never do my first TV commercial ever again. It's such a fleeting but beautiful kind of moment. But that's a bit deep, but
no, that's amazing. No, honestly, so inspired, like, just within the first 15 minutes of chatting to you. I guess, Mia, if you want to chat now about your sort of relationship with Shinee. I know Caroline was raving about you to me, so I was very excited to meet you.
I've been a long-standing supporter of Shinee. I think it is such an incredible platform for marginalised, underrepresented voices and people who are just at the very beginning of their career. I'm just trying to find when I started judging and doing some stuff with Caroline, because it was in its infancy. So 2017, my previous boss connected Caroline and I together, and as soon as I heard about the platform, I was all in. I never wanted to join or be able to represent an initiative as much as I had for Shinee. I think it's just because of the angle that Caroline comes from, in terms of, being able to go beyond just the London pocket, and people like yourself, people like Somayeh, some people that are abroad who wouldn't necessarily get those opportunities because they are not a part of the networks or not a part of the conversations already. I think she brings that kind of community aspect to it all, and you know, that camaraderie of getting feedback on your work as well. I thought that was an absolutely fantastic part of the whole process, because you know, that is the hardest thing. It's getting your work in front of industry professionals, and she's doing it the right way. It's really interesting, like, because we met, I think it was in 2018, Somayeh and I met, and yeah, it was at an event where Somayeh approached me after the panel discussion. You know, it's just really interesting to meet you, Somayeh, but we were very much talking about projects and how to develop and what you need on your reel, and what you need to do to get to that next step. And you know, I feel like I've been watching you through like a little incubation box over the past few years, and we've crossed paths at many different points and been able to mentor and kind of give you feedback on things like I See You, and other projects like that, and just seeing your progression over the years and knowing when to kind of engage you at the right time for the industry, I think was really important. I think sometimes people run before they can walk, but you've done the right steps in order to kind of get to the place that you are now. And yeah, so it's just been a really interesting journey, dipping in and out of each other's lives. But I think when I joined Ridley Scott Creative Group, I knew we would have the infrastructure and the backing to kind of really help you in the way that you needed help, and to kind of get you to that next stage of your career. I think for young directors, it is super important to build a network around you, like Somayeh has done. She's gone through the Shinee Awards to kind of create that network and introduce herself to people and make herself feel prominent within this kind of conversation.
The biggest thing that I think I've learned throughout the years, because obviously my background's been editing, and I've had this very slow transition from an editor to a director, and I've had to shift the mentality. And I think the biggest thing that's helped me do that is learning how to market yourself. Like, it's something that people don't teach you at university, but like having a brand and developing that brand and knowing what that brand is. Yes, it will take time. I'm not saying you're going to know it straight away, but really try and focus on learning tools how to market yourself. Like for me, even my email signature is a way of telling someone what I do without telling them. So if I'm getting work as an editor and that producer's like, oh, director, editor, oh, that looks interesting, let me click on that. I'm slowly brainwashing people as to what I do without pestering them or without being overtly. But I do think there's a balance of reaching out to people and networking, and then obviously having that branding fit into it. And I think that's where I've tried to hone my skills, is like, you're not just a director, you're literally your own business person as well for a short time, you know. And I think knowing how to make sure knowing how to get your work out there, it's great that there's Shinee, but then what happens after Shinee then, you know? It's finding out ways that you can maintain that relationship. And I know how difficult that can be because it's so competitive, and I think if you are a bit socially awkward and you're not at best at selling yourself, that could get in your way. So just with the online tools that you have, with your website, your social media, your email signature, there's a different way of being able to shine without feeling insecure about how you might come across or how good you are at social life and that sort of thing. So I would say, yeah, make the films obviously and hone your craft, but learn how to sell them yourself in a way. Sweet. Well, thank you so much.
No, that's okay. Thank you. It was so nice to meet you both. You're both
yeah. Have a great Friday, guys.
Yes. Thank you so much, Bonnie. It's lovely to meet you, and Somayeh, you're always great. You blow me away, literally.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Bye. Bye.